Just throwing a random question out here for you. This is like one of those, like, who would win in a fight type competitions. What would happen, Tim, if you used DLSS and FSR at the same time? Would the screen just explode? Or would it be a choice of one or the other? What would happen?
Well, I don't see any reason why it couldn't work. You just output the frame from DLSS, put it into FSR, and then go from there. I don't think there'd be any benefit to doing that because DLSS would just give you very close to a native image on most modes, and then FSR is just going to try and do the same thing from a very close to native image. So you'd be looking at like a very, very small, quality improvement. If I was going to say,
would you even get a performance gain, or would it be capped by DLSS?
Well, I guess the issue is that like you'd be rendering DLSS up to a lower resolution than native, and then using FSR to take it from that lower resolution to native, which probably would be, it could even be worse than just letting DLSS go the full way.
I'm thinking it would be worse.
Yeah, so
anyway, it would be good. I don't know if we'll ever get to find out.
I don't think there'd be any advantage for that. That said, I would expect that theoretically you could do it. It just, as I said, I don't think it would introduce like artifacts or anything like that. As we talked about, it gives you the artifacts that are already there in the image.
FSR does.
FSR does.
But it depends what DLSS does first.
But yeah, and I think the other way around, which is actually something that this next question is talking about, may be more interesting. So this next question is, it almost sounds like DLSS would benefit getting its input from FSR in the pipeline. So FSR to DLSS. Say you kept FSR at performance or balanced, could DLSS benefit from cleaner spatial data feeding its temporal reconstruction algorithm? What do you guys think? So I asked AMD about this.
Good.
I was like, one of my thoughts was, how would you use DLSS and FSR in conjunction? So I did have these thoughts that people were having these questions.
You're a twisted individual.
And I thought, yeah, it might make sense for DLSS for it to be upscaled spatially first so that you get potentially more detail that then DLSS can work its magic on. And AMD's answer to that was, they don't really want to talk about that.
I was going to say, I was almost going to jokingly say their answer was, Tim, stop asking questions, please.
So it wouldn't surprise me if this has already been thought about as a future iteration of how you would take this technology and improve it.
DLSS 3.0 using FSR?
Well, there are two obvious ways in my mind that you can improve FSR. The first one is you swap out the advanced edge reconstruction algorithm for a spatial AI algorithm. So that would be like the first step, where now you just use you basically use DLSS but without prior frames and without motion vectors. So it's just using AI on the image, which is kind of what DLSS 1.0 did, and kind of didn't do it that well. But hopefully, if they can improve upon the edge way, then it'll be better. So that's step one. And then step two is, well, now you've got really good images spatially. Now feed that into a temporal method, and now you can, now each frame is sort of being processed in all these different ways. And again, you're going to have to make sure you don't introduce a ton of artifacts. But this question here seems to me like something that probably will happen at some point.
Okay.
But again, it depends. There might be issues with it, but yeah, AMD didn't sound like they wanted to talk too much about this, so we'll see whether that's something they implement in the future.